conversation with that older lady. She must have been nervous because she saw that she was sitting passenger seat with her husband. She saw some big, what she thought was, I'd assume, to be the Hulk, or even I guess you could even call him uh, Iron Man, but outside of his costume. All right, whatever. We're getting off topic here. So as you can see, I'm pulling out of the gas station. I didn't really get enough gas actually. Um, I put in. You guys know, like if you obviously get gas where you pay inside, you have to estimate, as it were, how much gas you're gonna get, right? If you use less, typically they refund it if you paid by card. Let's not get into the semantics here. I got gas. We're supposed to get an oil change at that Take 5 we just passed, but too many cars there, and they don't even freaking do. They don't have the oil filters for Range Rover, so I have to go schedule an appointment with the whatever. Legs is what's the topic of today. So, gas, good. Now you're thinking, man, well, what about your fuel, dude? Third day, as it were, in a row. Star Blast, Bang, these ones are killer. If you guys like the what's it called? Face Pop flavor, the Ghost, which is been my go-to for about the last 2-ish years. Um, Man, this is like my top three right now are Ghost Energy Face Pop flavor, Celsius Arctic Vibe, even the watermelon's pretty close up there, and then number three would be the Bang Star Blast, but not in any particular order. Right now, this one's kind of biasing a place for first. Again, performance drink, not as much as energy drinks. So I think I say this all the time because a little preface here. This is going to be a longer car talk on the way to legs. I do have some things to discuss, so let's get into it. Finally started posting these videos. Actually, I haven't posted it. I've been recording like these. I recorded my grocery haul, but as you guys know, well, you don't know, but I'm telling you, this is officially the end of the cut week one, not the end of the cut. Don't get me wrong. I'm not just cutting for a week. Like some of you guys out there who don't cut much, or at least don't cut properly, as it were. But anyways, let's be serious here. I recorded, my grocery haul last Saturday. My wife and I went out and did my grocery haul for the cut. But that I just posted that like 15, 20 minutes ago. So that's like 8 days past due. And then every day from then until now, I've recorded a lift. So whether that be, I had chest, which I didn't do because if you guys remember, I discussed. I don't remember what day I started these videos on, to be honest, because last year, oh my gosh, I'm like swerving. Let me just pull this up really quick. So I still have the mat down. When you get a detail, typically they'll put like a "thanks for coming" piece of paper mat. We have tried to keep your carpet clean with this paper mat. I left it on the past few days. Um, I don't have whatever, it doesn't matter. Let's get into it. So, anyways, I'm a few videos ahead. So the way that I'm going to structure these is going to be more or less. You guys see, I'm still fidgety because I'm still like in more of a bulked state. I don't want any bad angles to be screenshotted. You know what I'm saying? So I'm trying to make sure I don't get caught. No, I'm joking. Bulking is, man. If you're I was gonna say a word I shouldn't have said. If you're scared and you're trying to put on, like, I understand bodybuilding isn't everyone's life because it's not my life. It's a big part of my life for sure. Training, taking care of my body, going to the gym. You guys will notice I got the mic back in the front. Um, Actually, I might even put it on the bill for a minute right now. Let's just put it here for right now. No, that looks a little bit disastrous. To be quite honest, I'm overthinking this. How's it going? Put that about on this side. There we go. So, got the mic over there. I think the mic's better on the hat because it gives more of my actual audio of my voice, which is what I'm trying to and whatever, trying for you guys to hear. But instead of hearing all the nonsense of the seatbelt sliding around and all my finger fidgeting movements and stuff. So, anyways, let's just get into it. I got 5 or 6 videos ahead, so I'm gonna try to post them consistently, back to back days, because I don't want to be like on day 20 you guys are watching, but in reality I'm on day 32 of the cut because I want you guys to see real time, real time data, and I want this to be as educational as I can. More or less, these videos, as I described in a previous video this last week, I really make these videos for me to help with accountability, that kind of stuff, and documenting myself because I don't have any reason to believe that YouTube won't be around in another 5, 10, 15, 20 years. But it'd just be a nice, little platform to be able to look back on. I'm 27 now. I was 26 last year. No shit. But when I started the cut last year, I got down from 250-ish to 215-ish. 30, 35 pounds I lost in that cut, last summer, so about a year ago. It'd just be cool to see that kind of stuff, look back on that. Helps keep me accountable and that kind of stuff too. But yeah, let's just get into it here. We're about 5 minutes in. This is going to be a little bit of a longer card talk because I started it a little bit too early. I started it when I was still at the gas station, so we got a little bit of a drive ahead of us. But I am going to record today's actual lifts. So if you guys don't want to watch this, me in the car anymore, just skip, just slide the little dot across. Hold you guys nice and tight here until you see me in the gym. We're going to start off, of course, up in the mezzanine area. I wouldn't even call it a mezzanine. It's just really a set of stairs I take up, to go up there and stretch. I finally updated some of the pictures and stuff, so you guys can go, like the little icon, I believe that should be. I mean, for me, the bottom right of my screen is here. This is my right hand. This is my left hand, because sometimes it's flipped, and then you guys are watching it on a different device. But the little icon on the bottom right of the screen is updated. It's me hitting a freaking back double by in the mirror towards the end of last cut. That was actually early. I was about a month and a half away from the end of the cut, so I was about 6 weeks before I actually finished cutting. Keep in mind, I wasn't going into a competition by any means, so I got to a relative level of leanness. You can see by obviously the intro. I have a new intro in these videos now. So the top left picture is me doing. It's just me in the gym, like maybe a couple weeks into the cut, about a month into the cut. So the video on the intro that you guys saw, the bottom right picture of me doing a lat spread was actually about a month or so after the cut, about 2 months after the cut, just insinuating and showcasing how reverse dieting, you can still stay lean and still have the leanness to you, the definition, you can still see, some of the leanness, I guess is really the best way to say it, on your back, especially the leaner you get, you got your traps, I talked about before, your traps, your rear delts, your different majors and minors. You got your rhomboids, you got your lats, your spinal erectors, which gives you that little Christmas tree figure, the way your lats are kind of tied into your back. So you got a whole bunch of cool stuff that the leaner you get, the more cool shit you can see basically with your body. So keep that in mind. But yeah, that bottom right picture on the intro was me doing a lat spread. Literally, I think it was I'm not sure where it was, but that was like 2 months after I was done cutting. And the picture on the top left was about a month into the cut, just for some updates, and then the actual background of the intro, me hitting that little side calf or the side tricep, was actually about a month before last year's cut. So I was still pretty bulked up, but the calves were looking, pretty good in that down lighting. I was still in Florida with that picture. Just so you guys kind of have a little intro background there. But yeah, so let's get into today's talk again. Always getting a performance drink prior to the lift, not necessarily an energy drink, but I will make this a moot point if it were, because, because there is something to be said about having a performance drink versus an energy drink. All satire aside, energy drinks are just caffeine. Performance drinks are caffeine, yes, but also natural energizers. You get the B12s and stuff and other natural energy sources, but you also get like in this one you got CoQ10, you got some joint stuff, you got some mental focus, some mental stimuli, you got some like the beta alanine, different body pumps, you got some creatine, you got a whole bunch of different ones that all the cans are all different, all brands. And the most notable for me is in the Ghost or the Gorilla Mind. Ghost is notorious for starting this, is they put the Alpha GPC in the freaking pre, man, and that is insane. In terms of mental focus, Alpha GPC is where it's at. Um, probably one of the few mental stimuli, I guess you would call it, compounds that I find in pre-workouts and the performance drinks that actually I noticed having it versus not. Um, Last year's cut it was powered by face pops, man. I'm telling you guys, the Ghost Energy face pop. It was like my whole cut, like all 4 or 5 months, was powered by the face pop flavor, and I had the pre-workout too, face pop flavor, the face clan, whatever. It's like under the gamer, which is why it has the mental focus shit in there. Um, but then also the actual cans. Like I would buy like cases of these. Oh shit! I didn't realize you guys swung over there. Not to say your sexuality was swinging, but rather the camera, as it were. I gotta chill out on that saying. I keep saying it too much. Anyways, as it were, no, I'm kidding. As it was, I digress. Let's just get into this leg stuff. So yeah, last cut was fueled by face pops. This cut is going to be fueled by a myriad of things. I'm a little more open-minded to different things, especially on days like today, which is legs. Now, okay, well, Cole, what does legs consist of? Well, for me, everyone obviously has a little bit different focal points. Maybe you really lack quads and have, I don't ever see this to be the case, but overdeveloped hamstrings, which you're not going to see that often. But let's say you have them, you might work a little harder on hamstrings. You might do some more hip work, some adductor or abductor work, whatever. Maybe you focus more on glutes, whatever. But in this context, calves, quads, hamstrings. That's gonna be my legs. So let me think here for a minute. Yeah, pretty much gonna be same as usual. So of course we're gonna start off with our stretch. I gotta hold you guys again. I've tried different ways, and at least as of now, I could maybe designate some more mental focus to finding a better spot. But the tripod and the setup, I was gonna deal with it for now. But yeah, so we're gonna stretch, warm up, and then I always like to start off my leg days with calves for not just because it's fun, for a myriad of reasons, or you could even say multiple reasons. So main reason being, it does kind of help when you start to expose your knees and your legs to a little bit of that weight. So after I do my stretching and warming up, and I'm like ready to go in there and do my warm up set and start hitting quads and hamstrings. Um, my main focus in the beginning is I hit some calves. If you struggle with calves, honestly, even if you are a hard gainer and it's hard for you to grow and develop your calves, I don't want to take this corner too hard. If you guys are just hitting like 8 to 10 sets of calves twice a week, your calves are gonna grow. They're gonna get bigger. They're simply what the fuck. Look twice, save a life. It says in the back of their fucking window. Yet they don't use a blinker when they turn. Whatever. Blink twice is what it should say on the back. Um. Anyways, so when you start doing calf raises, you get your calf nice and warmed up, and kind of helps get some blood flow down to your legs, right? So you can kind of get some more performance out of them, but also kind of expose your knees a little bit of weight. You're getting some motion, you're stretching out the calves, and helps you get a little more depth in the squats or the front squats, and it kind of warms up the legs a little more. And it's nice because if you don't hit calves in the beginning, there's a reasonable level of certainty I have in saying you probably won't hit them at all. You're going to skip. I'm a firm believer that the things that everyone just puts, I'll hit triceps at the end of arms, or today's, chest, shoulders, and triceps, and then at the end of the workout they just do three, just burn out to the triceps. Oh, that was sufficient. You still got to designate. I'm like stuttering. You have to still designate the appropriate amount of volume to each muscle group, even though it might be worked as a secondary muscle group. You know, a good example is on chest, right? If you're hitting chest, your front delts, right, the anterior head of your delts are going to get some work, as well as your triceps, because those are your pushing muscles. Your shoulders, your chest, and your triceps are all pushing muscles. You got some stabilizers going on there too. But I would say that your triceps are one of the your primary, secondary, or your the main secondary muscle. Second, or before shoulders. When you're hitting chest, obviously your chest has the most amount of fatigue and strain on it. But in that same context, you are going to be obviously using a lot of triceps too, because one of your primary pushing muscles. But if you only train chest and say, okay, I've trained chest sufficiently, I did 12 working sets of chest today because I was super energized and focused and I felt good. That's all I'm gonna do for triceps. It got enough secondary work. You're never gonna build triceps that way. You're never going to ever. I don't. I honestly can't recall a day where I went so hard on chest that my triceps were sore the next day. Now, be it I've been training for a long time and my triceps are obviously used to a lot of direct work, but regardless of that, if you guys aren't training your triceps, whatever muscles that you want to grow, if you're not training them directly, I haven't worn a hat in a while, so it just feels weird. Um, if you aren't training that muscle directly, you can't count it to grow. So don't just rely on the fact that your triceps are getting some stimulation with chest, or your glutes, or your whatever. Like, you get what I'm saying. Whatever back, if you're doing pull ups, and you're doing lat pull downs and cable rows, yeah, you're gonna get a little bit of work in the buys. You're gonna get a little bit, maybe not pump, but a little bit of blood flow. Don't rely on that to be your bicep work. Even if you're doing like chin ups like this and you're pulling, with your palms facing toward yourself, supinated, you're going to obviously put a little more pressure on the biceps, but that's not enough to grow them. Just keep that in mind. Work that muscle directly that you want to grow. And I always forget to drink the pre when I set it down because I'm Italian, so I talk with my hands. Oh man, this is so good, dude. The Star Blast, like, it's like the red, white, and blues. These are just always the best flavors. That's why the face pop is like the red, white, and blue. Anything that's like the bomb pop flavor, like bombsicle flavor, whatever. But yeah, so calves is a good warm for legs. Now, what I do next is just dependent on how I'm kind of feeling. I'm a really big advocate on, like, go with what your body's feeling, not to the point of like you're gonna skip working out, or like, oh, I'm not gonna go work out today because whatever the fuck. Um, so I'm not saying like, oh, I don't feel like going hard in this next set, so I'm not going to. Like, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying, like, be intuitive and kind of listen to your body and lean into it. If you're going on a leg day, I don't give a shit what social media says or what your friend says next door who has genetically gifted quads. If you're sitting there and you're hitting legs, your hamstrings, your calves are done, now you're on the quads, and you're on your fifth set of leg extensions, you're like, man, this just, for some reason today, my mind muscle connection is there, and like this just feels like the only calf movement that I want to do. I'm gonna sit here for all 10 sets of my quads today. Don't say, oh, well, I got to go do leg press and I got to go do walking lunges and then back squats and hack squats and then front squats. Just, if something's feeling good, keep doing it, right? I have days where my favorite chest movement, by all means, is incline, by any stretch of the measure, is incline dumbbell. Incline dumbbell to me is the best. The maneuverability, the freedom you have with your hands, you can really squeeze at the top and kind of prone it inwards and really try to squeeze at the top. You have the motion to kind of bring the dumbbells a little bit down and kind of squeeze up. You can bring them a little more out on a certain rep. It's just the freedom that you have, and you get just a much better squeeze at the top. I'm about to make a sharp turn here. Oh shit. Man, oh man, oh man. My fucking seatbelt's all messed up. Um, but anyways, I just kind of put you guys a little too far towards me. We're all good there. That's still good. So anyways, it's just I gotta figure out this tripod situation. Ironic enough, cruise because the seats were and the dashboard didn't come out on the passenger side a lot, so it could just be vertical, flat in the ground with all three prongs on the ground. Whatever. Um, but what I'm saying is, chest incline dumbbell is my favorite movement. There's some days though that I go in and I'm just not feeling it. After my first set or two, I'm like, I'm just not feeling it. It's my shoulders maybe aren't warmed up properly, or a little bit achy, or whatever it may be. There's just something that doesn't feel the way that I like it to normally feel. So I'll just stop. Even though incline dumbbell is my favorite chest exercise to do, I love it. The volume, going heavy, all those things, and I think it's super good to target your upper chest and squeeze, all those things. It just sometimes doesn't feel good, right? And there's other days when I've gone in and it feels so good that I'll do 6 or 7 or 8 working sets of incline dumbbell, and then I'll finish off with like 1 or 2 burnout sets of pec deck, and then that's chest. So this is like a working out is a part of it's an important part of my life, but it's still a part of my life. Where I still have the diet, I still have family, I still have friends, I still have work, my home life, my spiritual life, all these things are working out as a part of it. And just like everything else, if you're not feeling something, you voice your opinion on it. If you're not feeling a specific exercise, kind of walk away from it for a couple of days or a couple of weeks or a couple of months until you're feeling it again. Or on the flip side, if you're feeling it really, feeling it a lot, I'm not saying for the next year only do incline dumbbell because it feels good, but throw some versatility in there. It's the only way you're going to really get good growth. Um, but you guys get the point I'm trying to make. So I'm gonna go in there and I'm gonna kind of feel after calves are pumped and I've adequately fatigued them. It's not hard to get. I mean, you're literally your legs for your calves. You're going from here to here with your foot, and that's it. Just focus on the squeeze hard at the top. Don't just go down to 90 degrees. Go past parallel so your top of your foot is getting closer to your shin, if that makes sense. So you're getting that full, nice, deep stretch in the calf, and nice, slow, controlled reps for heavier weight, 3 or 4 sets of that, and then your last 5 or 6 sets, or however many sets you're doing, just drop the weight a little bit and burn out. 25, 30 reps. Just make it to like, oh my gosh, they're literally burning so bad, because that's the type of stimulation something like your calves takes, because they're a very actively used muscle every time you walk or stand up, just like your forearm, but you're picking stuff up all day long. You got to really, really put some work into them. It's not complicated. You're just doing forearm curls from here to here or from here to here. You know what I mean? That's all you're doing. But just do it. That's all it really requires. So today I'm just feeling that I'm gonna do some front squats. Now for me, I'm not sitting there doing 7 sets of front squats. I'm just gonna do probably. I mean, it's always different. I can't even say like what I normally would do. Um, I don't really do like typically after calves. I'll do 3 or 4 sets of hamstring curls. Those are working sets by all means, but I'm not just doing 4 sets of hamstrings and I'm done. I'm doing those 3 or 4 sets of hamstring curls to make sure my whole leg is warmed up. The back of my legs, so where a lot of people get torn hamstrings and ligaments and causes back issues. My calves are warmed up. I got blood flow, because I know that if my calves are fatigued and my hamstrings are pumped, it's not going to affect the strength of my leg. If anything, it's going to almost have that intra-abdominal pressure, which basically is like when you're. I'll use like a weight belt as an example. When you guys put on like a belt for squats or for deadlifts or whatever, when you put on a belt like for weightlifting, the intra-abdominal pressure is what helps with the stabilization. So the belt is pulling in while you're kind of going and pushing out, and that intra-abdominal pressure in your abdomen, obviously, that basically when something's pushing against you and then you're also resisting it, it basically enhances the stability. So with your back, your posterior chain, your stomach, when you wear a belt, that intra-abdominal pressure allows you to be more stable and exert more force. So with hamstrings, when you go down in a front squat after your hamstrings are kind of pumped up, because they're pumped up, they're kind of like almost squeezing your quads even more, and it just, I don't know, it's just a great feeling, and it's nice to make sure that your legs are kind of over, you're nice and warmed up and they're ready to go. So anything you could do, guys, especially when you're in your teens and 20s like myself, like anything you can do to avoid injuries, do it, because I've had this lingering shoulder problem for like 9 months, for fuck's sake. It went away, and then I was moving. My wife and I were cleaning out a house that we were flipping, and I threw something a little too hard the wrong way without stretching right in the morning, and just tweaked it. That little pinch of just pushing it, and I never really got injured when I was in high school at all. Are those birds? Damn, I thought that was like my window was down. It was whistling. Again, I gotta forget this pre in. Hold on.